a dream I could see you're not far away. Anytime, any place, I can see your face. You're that special one that I've been waiting for, and I hope you're...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Geek Tank, a show where we dive headfirst into the world of video games. I'm your host this week, Joshua Mobley, and I'm here with my good friends, Kyle and Dave.
Oh my God.
Hey, what's going on? What'd you say, oh my God, for?
I don't know, just felt like saying, oh my God. Is that a problem?
Did you think I was going to forget your name or something after...
I mean, you have pronounced my name Jave a couple times.
Oh, yeah, Jave.
Let's not forget Justin either.
I actually thought it would have been funny if I only got one of your names. Like, if Nate was here, I only got one of your names right, and then I called you, and then I just made up, like, other names.
And George.
I would have been like Kyle, Stan, and Smurglederp or something. I don't know.
I thought you were going to go the South Park route with that one.
Stan? Kyle,
This is all
Stan again?
ectoplasm.
Ew. Ew. Anyway, how you fellas doing? How's it going?
I've had such an amazing week. So every week I usually go out and I look for like a random game that I can add to my, like, not retro pile because they're not that old, but just not my new consoles. So I told Dave about this earlier. So I went to this store in my town called Slackers. So if anybody's from Missouri, I'm sure you know Slackers. But I picked up Daytona USA, Virtua Fighter 2, and Virtua Cop on the Saturn.
Virtua Cop.
Yeah, boy. Apparently, the Saturn came out in '96 with this 3 free games pack deal. So I got that for super cheap. I got Panzer Dragoon Orta on the Xbox, which I love Panzer Dragoon, so I picked that up on an awesome deal.
But I heard it was a good game.
Panzer Dragoon is cool.
I love it. I'm only like 3 missions in so far, but man, I'm having a blast.
That was back during that awesome time, like the original Xbox's run, where they had all the Sega games coming out for it.
Yeah, they had a bunch of like Dreamcast games getting relaunched and stuff like that. So
just saying, Jet Set Radio Future HD.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
They can still do
I also
it.
got. I don't know about that, Dave. I don't know. I think that ship has sailed. But I also got Ace Combat 4, and I love Ace Combat. And 4 is personally my favorite because it's the first one I ever played. So I just am a happy camper today.
Ace Combat's a really good series that I think kind of flies under the radar nowadays. Especially since
it's a niche game.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one that just came out, it's out on Steam, but I think it came out on the new consoles. I think it came out on PS4 and Xbox One. It has this weird feature where, like, in the middle of a dogfight, you'll lock onto a fighter, and it'll actually just start following it, and you'll lose control of the.
Are you talking about Assault Horizon?
Yeah.
Oh, that came out last gen, but.
Oh, it was last gen.
That's a weird one.
Because I played the demo on Steam, and I was just like, all right, this is not what I wanted.
It's not a solid Ace Combat, but I mean, I think it's fun. You know, like I tried it out; it was all right. Was it the one Ace Combat 6? I think is the one that's on 360 and PS3. Came out fairly early.
Yeah,
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Armored Core 4 is the one that nobody liked for 360. I don't know.
Armored Core 4.
Yeah, for some reason, like Ace Combat and Armored Core like just merged together for me for whatever reason. I don't know.
I mean, they both have like an A and then a C.
Oh yeah, you're right. No.
Yep, they contain those letters.
Mystery solved. Yes. Good job, gang.
The alphabet.
We'll see who's under this mask.
Oh, you know what else I got? Dragon Quest Heroes, The World Trees Woe, and The Blight Below.
Is that like some kind of expansion?
The fucking name.
Is that just...
No, that's the name of the game. It's the second one in the Dragon Quest Heroes.
It sure is a name.
Wait,
yeah, the first one came out, I want to say, on the PS3. I'm not sure. Don't think I'm right, but
okay, because that's the one that's like the Dynasty Warriors, right?
Yeah, it's a Muso
didn't
game.
that just come out?
Yeah, I think it was last month, maybe. I'm not completely sure, but I got it for about $40. Pretty good deal, I think. I've never been a big fan of Muso games. I've notoriously hated on all the Dynasty Warriors. I was a fan of the original 99 Nights, but that was it. And So I just decided I'm super into Berserk right now, even though the anime is a little disappointing. And so to get myself prepped for this new Berserk, I was just like, oh, I'll try out a Musou game, see if I like them. So I tried out Dragon Quest Heroes. It's a lot of fun. It's dumb. The story's like the most boring thing ever, but like it also gets really repetitive really fast. So like I can't play it for more than 2 missions at a time, or else it's just like becomes so tedious. But it's so charming, and like it's really fun to jump into an HD Dragon Quest. So it's got me even more hyped for Dragon Quest 11. So it's a good time. I'm having a good week in games.
That's awesome. Good to hear. I mean,
Cool.
as far as Dragon Quest Heroes, I mean, like I vaguely remember playing a demo of it at Comic-Con when I went in last year. It's a pretty solid game. I mean, it's gameplay is really good.
Yeah, of Musou's, I think it's pretty good.
I mean, the only Musou I've played is Dynasty Warriors Gundam. So yeah,
I tried to play that one, the first one that came out.
Yeah,
and it moves really slow, and I was so disappointed because like I love Gundam.
Oh yeah,
and but yeah,
where's the next Gundam game for that matter?
Like a good one.
There's a brand new one that just came out actually on like Vita and PS4. Yeah, it's like
oh, that's right.
Something Versus. It's got a really weird Japanese name, but
well, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
come on, man.
Gundam's always doing something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was doing something weird.
Yep.
If they could just make a Gundam game that worked like Mech Warrior, like the classic Mech Warrior games, that would be legit.
No, give From Software the Gundam license because they do all the Armored Core games. Shit. Miyazaki wants to get back to that stuff anyway.
Heck, I just want From Software to try Armored Core again, just at the minute.
Yeah, man. I need me some more stuff after Verdict Day.
Yeah, I mean, and granted, they have said they're going to get away from Dark Souls, so maybe,
Yeah.
Man can hope.
And he said something. People were asking him about like doing a Demon Souls remake or whatever, and he said like that's up to Sony or something.
Yeah.
But I bet Sony's going to make Bloodborne 2 before they do any of that.
Oh,
so.
yeah. I totally, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, now if nobody has anything else to say, we should get on to this news because we got quite a few
The news.
news things. All right. So our first piece of news, well, I guess I should do the rigmarole, huh? I guess I should dive right into that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Geek Tank, a show where we dive right into the trenches of the gaming industry and give you our brutally honest opinions. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and some other platforms every week. If you like listening to this podcast, please make sure to leave us a like, favorite, or whatever you do. Let us know that you enjoy our show, regardless whether regardless it be that or just coming back to listen every week. You're a member of the Geek Tank Battalion, and we appreciate you. Okay, now we can do the news.
Yay.
Going off what our topic of the show was last week, CSGO betting sites closed in the wake of Valve's crackdown. So I don't think this had happened when we recorded our last show, but Valve is actually cracking down on a lot of the services for CSGO betting. So I'll just read part of this story from Polygon. Several Counter-Strike global offensive betting communities have shut down in response to Valve Corporation's threat to issue cease and desist orders to those which allow players to earn real money for in-game items. The company announced yesterday that it would soon go after sites that enabled Steam users to gamble their items like casino chips, an activity that's been met with controversy in recent weeks. So, thoughts? Because I am still... I'm still of my original opinion. Like, why am I not allowed to do this? But
I think as far as like why you're not allowed to do it, I mean, I think it's fine as long as there's a little bit more regulation as to who can do it. I mean, I think it's obvious that they had kids doing this, which is illegal, 100% illegal. But But basically, what I come out of with this whole news story is it's great Valve's taking action, but don't pretend like they didn't know about this. Like they have
right. They knew. I know they knew, but I'm still like, if why can't I do? Like, I should be allowed to do this. But I get your whole like certain people shouldn't be allowed to do it. I'm fine with that. Like,
I'm not a gambler or anything. So like, the only gambling I ever do is like strip poker. That's the only gambling I do, buddy. Strip poker on with video game characters, buddy.
Oh no,
that's all I do. But yeah, it's like, to me, I don't know any ifs, ands, or buts about that situation. But I feel like it took Valve way too long to do anything about this situation. Maybe it was just because
Well, I mean, that's just
they were
par for
trying
the course
to.
with Valve.
Yeah, true. That's very true.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it feels like either they were being very complacent in the beginning and just like, oh, this will blow over, and then it didn't, and then they were like, oh, I guess we got to do something, or they were perhaps, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here, that maybe they were trying to tiptoe around things so that they didn't have to change anything irrevocably and like mess with the whole system itself. So now all of a sudden, like for instance, maybe, oh, we can't have skins anymore. What the hell, something like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can still sell your skins on the market.
right.
You won't be making like PayPal money or anything. I mean, that whole, it's funny because they're only shutting down part of this. Like they're not going to stop people from just betting on their own offline or using like some kind of separate app. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're actually making it. They're making the CSGO betting scene. Actually, like they're not. It's not going away. It's just going to be way more prone to scams now, because before it was run by bots and run by things that like ensured that people weren't getting scammed. I mean, you could argue that people were getting scammed because like people were making money off the top, but that's how that whole thing works. How do you think a casino runs? But at the same time, like anyone who's going to do it now is going to be way more likely to get scammed.
I mean, I think we're going to see we're going to see I think we all know there's going to be irreversible damage to this whole community. The CSGO gambling community is probably going to be like a fraction of what it used to be. And that fraction is going to be a lot of scams.
I want to see how it will affect the actual skin economy in game, because it's like, you can track it. I'm really curious to see if prices go up or down. I imagine they'll go like
diagonal.
Might go up.
I'm betting southwest. It'll go in that
I'm
direction.
betting it's going to go inside the store.
Jesus Christ.
But as far as I don't think it's going to affect the trading community that much. I mean,
no, the trading will be the same.
And I think that's really all that matters.
They want people to trade.
Yeah, I mean, I really care more about the actual economy within Steam. I don't really care that people can't trade it for real money anymore. I mean, that's just...
No, they still can. Well, they still can. You just can't gamble.
Wait,
that's it.
Well, I mean, I guess you could sell the items online, I guess. I don't...
Yeah, but but people have always been selling like $300 skins on PayPal. They've always been doing that.
Oh, well.
That's not going away.
Okay, well then, whatever.
I'm just saying, like, people who are betting are now, like, if they continue to bet, they're in a dangerous predicament now.
Yeah.
Because they can't, like, none of the services are being run by bots, so there's no way to know that, like, I'm gonna bet here. I'm putting my things with a bot. Everything's going to be fine and secure. And if I win, I know that I got my stuff. And, like, no one's going to steal my stuff. Now you don't have that luxury because of this.
For one, welcome our robot overlords.
Yeah. I don't know. This to me...
Is that Mad Max?
No, it's Terminator.
Sort of an annoying...
No.
This whole thing to me is sort of annoying, but... whatever, it's fine. There's nothing I can do about it.
Whatever.
So moving on.
Yeah.
Hearthstone's new hero, not like a new class, a new just kind of hero skin. They have these from time to time. A Murloc Shaman is unlocked by recruiting friends to the game, which I would argue this is like years too late because everyone already has a freaking Hearthstone account. So yeah, basically you can have a Murloc Shaman skin if you recruit a friend to the game. And like I said, this kind of sucks because all my friends already play, so it's like, who the hell am I going to recruit to get this? I'm basically going to make a Smurf account. That's basically what's going to happen. And that's what everyone else online's been saying. They're like, all my friends already play. I guess I'm making a Smurf account.
Yeah, I feel like anybody getting into Hearthstone at this point is like pretty late in the game.
I'm sure some people do. I mean...
Oh yeah, they do, but
impossible. I don't believe it.
Impossible.
It's still like it's not hard to get into the game after they added like standard mode. It's actually a lot easier for new people to get in because they don't have to worry about like 3 years worth of cards that they have to try and collect all at once. But I would argue that, yeah, most people either like play it and then they play it casually, or they play it, you know. I play it pretty casually.
Casual. Casual.
I'm so cash.
I'm so cash. So cash money, baby.
Cash money. But yeah, if you want a Murloc skin, you go ahead, you do that. World of Warcraft gets ready for Legion with a huge patch on Tuesday, and this is a huge patch. They're adding all kinds of stuff to the game. Legion comes out August 30th, so about a month and a half away. World of Warcraft's next major patch. Shouldn't have started that sentence because that was basically what I just said. Blizzard says the Demon Hunter will be available to pre-purchasers of the new class. Pre-purchasers, quote, around the 2nd or 3rd week of August, but no later than August 17th. The Demon Hunter will be the 12th character class in the game, the 2nd hero class alongside the Death Knight. They start at level 98. Next week's patch also introduces a slew of changes to the game's character classes and their specifications. It's a weird way to put it. That were revealed back in November. The changes to classes and specifications is applied across the game whether or not a player buys Legion. The changes are meant to make the 11 classes in WoW more distinct. The patch also includes an update to World of Warcraft's transmogrification collection systems, as well as making it easier to sort, browse, and store gear without occupying storage slots in users' inventory, bank, or anything. There's a bunch of other stuff. What's the word? They're basically redoing the entire PvP system. Like now your talents and stuff will be completely separate when you play PvP. So the way it works is like your leveling will be totally outside of PvP, but you have specific talents and abilities that only work in PvP and some that only work in PvE. And the only way you unlock those abilities in PvP is by actually playing PvP. So for the most part, everyone is on a totally equal playing field on PvP now, and you'll basically rank up. And when you get to rank 50, you'll have unlocked all the stuff and all that. But then you can do basically like you in Call of Duty, you can prestige. And when you do that, you unlock like mounts and weapon skins and like exclusive things that only appear in that season of World of Warcraft's player versus player mode. So for the first time ever, I'm actually excited about PvP and WoW. And then the transmog system that's coming is sort of similar to like Diablo 3. If you remember Diablo 3's where it's like you get that item, you get the style that it looks like, and then you can just pay gold to like apply that style to an item that you get. Now basically you can do that in WoW, and it's all in a menu that's just accessible to you. So finally, because you used to have to what I do on my characters, I'm carrying like basically all the items that look like the way I want to look like, and I'm carrying them in my bags so that when I get a new item, I have to go all the way back to Stormwind, and then I have to pay and do this thing, and so that it looks the way I want it to look. And now I don't have to do that. So, huzzah, I guess. But I don't even know. Have you guys ever even played WoW? I don't even know if you guys are excited, because I'm pretty hyped about the patch coming out.
I'm not a WoW guy.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I played WoW for like a day.
Well, this is big. This is big stuff. Big money. And I'm excited to see how the game like changes and evolves, because I enjoyed Warlords of Draenor, which was the expansion that just happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I enjoyed the leveling system. Like the way they did the leveling was awesome. Like you basically completed a storyline across all these zones, and once you did, by then you were like level 100, and then there was a bunch of stuff to do afterwards. But after that, like the end game wasn't very good, and that's the main complaint people had, was like the end game was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Even though the leveling was like the best it's ever been in WoW. So I'm interested to see what they do here to fix the end game, because it seems like they're adding like better daily quests similar to how Blizzard's other games work, and they're doing some other changes, and then this whole PvP thing is going to make me actually care about PvP again. So, you know, I would have thought that would bring that up because that's a big deal. 7.0.
I'm just super interested in what Legion's going to bring to WoW at this point, because I've heard a lot of things about the last expansion, like you were saying. What's that? Like the army that you control or whatever? What is that called?
Your garrison.
Yeah, I've heard like a lot of bad stuff about the garrison.
Yeah,
I don't know, so like I don't play, so I'm not gonna.
The garrison was basically like, well, because originally in WoW, like the whole, and with any MMO, they try to get you outside doing things with other people, and you know, going to dungeons, going to raids, like getting there, walking in, you know, like that whole thing. Now it's like, because most things can be queued for, and because there's not really a huge reason once you've hit level 100 to go outside into the world. Most players found themselves sitting in their garrison just doing garrison stuff, and they're like alone because they're instanced in their garrison, and they're like, what am I, you know, this isn't fun. So it kind of took away like the huge social aspect, which is why people were kind of like not a fan of it. I can tell you that while you're leveling, you think the garrison is the coolest thing ever, but then once you're done leveling, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. But yeah, they're doing these things now called class halls, which are sort of similar, but they took away a lot of the stuff that like people didn't like about the garrison. So we'll see how that works. It's basically, instead of you having your own private area, it's like you have your own private area for your class. So I play a paladin. So I have access to the Paladin class hall, and when I go in there, there's stuff for me to do sort of similar to what was going on in the garrisons, but like now I'm with a bunch of other Paladins, you know? So like we're all hanging out in there doing Paladin stuff, talking about how we're better than everyone else. And all the rogues are in some sewer, like talking about how they're better than everyone else, and like all the mages are in Dalaran talking about how they're better than everyone else. It's kind of like that. And then from what I understand, the warlocks get their own planet.
Jesus, what?
Which is pretty sweet. They like enter a fell portal, and then they have their own like green fire planet they hang out on and talk about why they're better than everyone else. But
wow, it's just people talking about how they're great.
Yeah, they're just doing daily quests and talking about how they're great. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. None of the Legion stuff is going to be available in this patch, though. Like, none of the quests leading up to Legion, which are going to start pretty soon. Like, they're going to start doing, like, invasion scenarios where, like, somewhere in the world, like, oh man, you know, Stormwind and Orgrimmar are being sieged by, like, the Burning Legion, and for, like, a week you have to go do, like, some daily stuff that adds to the story up until Legion comes out. But we don't know when those are going to start. And then at some point, if you pre-ordered, like I did, you're going to be able to make a Demon Hunter, like, a week or two before Legion actually launches, so you'll be able to play the Demon Hunter, like, starting, like, storyline and get to level 100, and then you can just play, like, PvP and do raids and stuff with them, but you're not going to be able to, like, go into the Legion stuff until it unlocks. But yeah, a lot going on.
Sounds like WoW's just going crazy at the moment. Stuff's changing.
Well, they've had quite a content drought, let me tell you what.
Yeah.
People want to whine about Destiny, like being, oh, it's been like 6 months and there's been nothing. Warlords of Draenor has been on the same patch for over a year.
Jesus
So
Christ.
I don't want to hear it, all right? I don't want to fucking hear it. Same with
Overwatch.
Yeah, when they were in Mists of Pandaria, they had the same problem. Like, there was a whole year where they were on Siege of Orgrimmar patch, like 2.4 or 5 or whatever it was. And they just didn't like they apparently, when they were doing Mists of Pandaria, they released, like, content too regularly. Like, they would release Throne of Thunder and then, like, a new raid every month, and then when they got to Siege of Orgrimmar, they ran out because they're like, oh, the story's done. And then it was like, for a whole year we were just waiting for Warlords of Draenor. So I don't want to hear it, Destiny players. We have it good. All right, we have it pretty goddamn good.
Bungie loves.
Yeah. And they want to make content faster, but they just can't. So y'all need to calm down. Anyway, let's talk about Overwatch. You guys like Overwatch?
Overwatch, that's a game I play.
Yeah, Overwatch, man. Good googly moogly. So there's a new character coming to Overwatch.
Oh, I heard.
That's what I was hearing, yeah.
My
Through the
goodness.
grapevine.
I heard it through the grapevine. Ana, which is also it's Farah's mother. She's a sniper who also heals, and I can say because I've played her on the PTR that she is very strange.
She sounds strange.
She's really weird. And at first, I wasn't sure if I liked her a lot, but then after I played her a little more and realized that your healing grenade actually does the same thing, like it'll also damage people, I was like, oh, she's awesome. But what's funny is like I noticed that I thought I was weird. I was never scoping when I was playing here. I was just firing wildly into crowds and just like whatever it hits,
Whoa,
it's
Jesus.
good. You know?
Firing wildly into
Well,
the
it's
crowd.
like, well, it's because no matter who you hit, so, like you imagine something good's gonna happen. Like if I accidentally hit my ally, I'm
God,
just gonna
Josh, you
heal them.
madman.
Yeah, I'm a madman. But and then if you hit your enemy, they're gonna do damage. But like I started looking at gameplay from other people, and no one really scopes either. So I was like, oh, so it's kind of useless for her to be a sniper. But because you have a reticle still, it's not like Widowmaker where her gun becomes like an SMG, like a crappy SMG when you're not scoped.
Yep.
It's the same gun, and it behaves exactly the same when you're not scoped. So people don't even scope; they just like fire. They
Jesus.
just aim and fire. So
Be no scoping like crazy.
yeah, well, it doesn't really count as a no scope when there's a reticle.
I don't know about that. I know
It
scoped
does.
in Halo 3 days. That was a term.
Nah, it's not the same.
Don't talk to me like that.
Anyway, she's going to come out pretty soon. They didn't really announce when she's coming out, but you can play her if you're on the PC version. You can play her on the PTR right now. I recommend giving it a go.
I couldn't even get
Huh?
on. It was like 5,000 people in queue when I tried to get on there.
Really?
I saw that.
It let me
It
on.
was the first day.
Oh, it let me on the first day.
It didn't let me on.
You must have been trying to get on like really early or something.
Yeah, I guess.
It's your fault, Dave.
I came on after work and got on fine. I didn't play like in an actual game. I just kept playing with bots because I wanted to just be Anna and like test her, and I didn't want to have the people be like, "Don't be Anna, what the fuck?" It's like, we're on PTR, dude. I don't care. Like, do you really care? Like, you know what I mean? Another piece of Overwatch news that's tied to Anna, and it's tied to the upcoming like giant patch. Overwatch patch to add competitive play hero limit and a bunch of different balance changes. My girl Diva is about to get a huge buff, which I'm super excited
I was
about.
reading about that. That sounds so much better.
It sounds so much better. So, competitive mode, which launched late last month, will be updated in the future to include a 1 hero per team limit.
Thank God.
This means that players will no longer be allowed to include, say, 6 Bastions on their team. Thank Christ.
My God.
Because I hate going into a game when there's like 4 Torbjorns and like no one is playing Genji or
We actually
Zarya or anyone that
my
can
friends
deal with it.
affectionately refer to that as Forbjorn.
Forbjorn.
Yeah. 'Cause it's
Clever.
Torbjorn, it's Forbjorn.
Yeah.
All week.
Also, during Season 2, players will also say goodbye to the sudden death mechanic. Instead, matches will be able to end in a tie. So,
Oh.
no more sudden death, because apparently people just really don't like sudden death. And I can see why, because at some point, like, if everyone, like, if you're like, when you're on the attacking team, you do really well, and when the other team is on attack, you're doing really well, and every time either team is doing defense, they suffer. Once you get to sudden death, it's like, well, whoever is going to be attacking is going to win. You know what I mean? I've had those instances because it flips the coin. I'm like, yes, we're attacking, and then we just dominate.
Right.
And that's the main like problem, is that it's not incredibly balanced, and sometimes it comes down to just like RNG, like a literal coin toss. So, I'm glad that it's going away. I'd rather have ties. So, let's see. There's a bunch of people getting buffs. Diva's getting a boost. Zenyatta's getting a buff. I don't actually know what Zenyatta's getting. Does anyone know? Because I don't.
I have no clue.
I think they're buffing his shields, I believe, to make him a little bit stronger. And I think they might have messed with his cooldown timers a little bit.
They're giving him more robot Zen, is what I hear.
More robots in, yeah. So that's cool because I do really like Zenyatta, and he was super powerful in the beta, and then after they nerfed him like really hard, he just hasn't been the same. He doesn't really play all that well.
No, and I still like him, mostly because his ultimate's really good for pushing.
Yep.
But,
yeah.
But as far as what's going on with Diva, though, like, whew.
Yeah, so her
Long needed.
bullet shield is not going to be tied to a necessarily tied to a cooldown anymore. It's not going to be tied to E. It's actually going to be on the right click now. So you'll be able to just hold your right click, and the shield will just pop up.
Like Reinhardt, basically.
Basically, yeah. Which finally makes her more of a tank now.
Yeah.
Because I use the shield when I've gone too aggressive, and then I need to walk away. I like put the shield up and walk backwards away. You know. Yeah. Now it seems like she'll actually be able to tank properly, and you'll still be able to get that like super aggressive play with her like I like to do. But yeah, pretty exciting. I'm glad that they keep putting stuff in Overwatch.
Yeah, I'm glad they're listening.
What'd you say?
I'm glad they're listening.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm glad that like they're still listening and toying with how the game works, because they need to get it in a really good place before BlizzCon. Honestly, like for when they do, the first big Overwatch tournament. I mean, the first really big Overwatch tournament is happening next month, and it's being run by ESL. But BlizzCon is always the Super Bowl of like all their games, so. Yeah. I think they're trying to get competitive mode in a really good spot that everyone seems to enjoy before then, because right now in its current form, it's good, but it's not good enough. It could be like way better. So we will see. Rocket League getting unlockable crates a la Counter-Strike Go. So
I think it's
Rocket League.
So could you just like explain it in depth, Josh? Because I really didn't hear it at all. Like I heard saw the title, but I never like really read into it.
Yeah. So unlockable crates, sort of like loot boxes in Overwatch, or Team Fortress 2 crates, or the boxes you get in Counter-Strike. Those kind of things are coming to Rocket League. But and they mentioned you're not going to be able to have item gambling, which didn't expect that. Rocket League's new crates and keys were discovered by a user on Reddit who spotted images of the unannounced unlockable items in recent updates to the game. Players quickly speculated that Psyonix was introducing a new way for players to acquire collectible add-ons of varying rarity. Psyonix Vice President Jeremy Dunham later confirmed that unlockable loot crates are coming to Rocket League, but not in the way many players feared. Crates will contain cosmetic content only. Durham said, "We have a strict don't sell advantage policy for Rocket League, and we're sticking to that." Dunham also said that Psyonix won't integrate Rocket League's crates with Valve's Steam marketplace, where skins, weapons, and other items can be bought, sold, and traded. Quote, "We are definitely aware of the problems related to third-party gambling and other games. We are not interested in taking that approach."
Low-key, don't worry. We're not going to be CSGO.
Yeah, and then they say, quote, "We also want to reassure you guys that we are sticking with our approach to keep introducing free new arenas, modes, items, along with the occasional paid DLC, just like we always have. Hope this helps shed some light on what we've planned. It's actually a pretty cool system that we're happy to share details with about next month." So you're going to get crates. You're going to buy keys to open them. There's item rarity, all that stuff. But it sounds like they're just not going to do anything with the Steam thing. They're like, no, you're not going to be able to, because some other games like that aren't Valve games actually have that functionality built in where you can trade the items on the Steam marketplace. And it seems like they just want to avoid that altogether and just keep the game, which I can respect.
I think it's interesting showing like the life of Rocket League at this point, because I mean it's already out in everywhere it needs to be, and I definitely I haven't touched Rocket League in a while. I don't know about you guys, and I know that there's a fairly hardcore crowd of people that consistently play, but like,
Yeah.
the game that they're obviously trying to keep going strong. And I don't know, even still, like whatever incentives they're able to push in there, I don't know if they're ever going to get anybody back. I think it's interesting though to keep the current crowd satisfied. This may be a good way because I've never cared about the cosmetics in Rocket League. When I jump in, it's sort of how like I do care about cosmetics in Overwatch, for instance, but when I play Overwatch, it's just for fun. And for me, Rocket League's the same way. I just jump in and I want to play a few matches and get out. So maybe for the hardcore guys, maybe it'll be interesting so they can be like, oh, look at my fucking.
I mean, it definitely adds longevity to a game.
Yeah.
The reason I played so many hours of TF2, honestly, was like chasing a lot of those cosmetics.
Right. It feels like a very boring and easy way to do it, which bugs me because like I feel like every time a game implements that post-launch, it's like, hey, keep playing our games, guys. But you know, I think it's a good thing. I'm super into Psionics and what the guys do, so you know, whatever makes them more money to do the next thing.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they take a Valve approach in the like crowdfunding tournaments.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm surprised that nobody else does. Like, I'm really surprised that no one does that.
Well, I mean, Xbox is sort of going to be doing that now with that whatever thing they announced at E3. I forget what it's called.
But they're not crowdfunding that, are they?
Well, I mean,
like the way they crowdfund, like the Dota 2 International, the highest prize pool of any esports tournament consistently. The way they do that is like they sell an item in the game for like $10 that gets you a bunch of rewards and stuff. And you have like, you run like a fantasy league basically within your book and like make all these predictions like about what teams are going to win and put all these like stickers in it. And then there's like challenges tied to it where you level up the book and stuff. So everyone always buys it because it's like super cool and it gets you to play characters you wouldn't normally play and do things you wouldn't normally do. And like you track progress and it adds just like other progression on top of the game. And I know that when I was a huge Dota 2 player, like we always got super excited when this freaking book came out and we just dropped $10 like immediately on it.
Yeah.
And then basically when you do that, and also when you leveled up the book, you got like these really cool looking items that you only ever got during then. And like, because of that, like people would spend a bunch of money on them, and basically like half of the money that got spent would go to the prize pool, and then the prize pool ended up being like $10 million all the time.
That sounds like what Halo 5 does.
Kind of, yeah.
Sort of, yeah. They did that with the rec packs or whatever, where it was like $1 million of the rec pack purchases were used as the prize pool for the Halo championships. I wonder if maybe they're gonna, I mean, Rocket League's a pretty big esport. I'm wondering if they are gonna try and push it in that direction.
I'll tell you what's the most exciting esport right now. Catherine at Evo. Hot damn.
Is that for real?
Yeah, that happened. It was so funny.
That's hilarious.
Just, like,
Catherine at
timing them
Evo. What'd you say?
They were just timing them as they went through it.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
Beating
interesting.
each other's times.
Weird. Atlas.
Yeah. I think it's whatever. We'll see. See how it goes. This article is simply titled "How One Frustrated Star Citizen Backer Got Thousands of Dollars Refunded."
What?
And I guess controversial changes to the game's terms of service played a key role. So after dumping thousands of dollars into the Star Citizen project, the spiritual successor to the Wing Commander franchise being designed and built by a team led by Chris Roberts, one backer tried to get his money back. What followed was a weeks-long struggle that only recently ended after a Los Angeles County investigator got involved. In 2014, Arthur... okay, there's this whole like thing they plugged in here. Like, I didn't want to use his full name. Began contributing to the Star Citizen crowdfunding effort after several years of purchases, including alpha access, virtual ships, and online subscriptions totaling more than $3,300. But as development dragged on and as changes were made to the focus of the Star Citizen project, he elected to try and get his money back. Multiple times he claimed his claims were denied by the team behind Star Citizen, leading him to file a formal complaints with the Los Angeles County District Attorney. Basically, he was just mad about the terms of service, which I'm trying to figure out. Like basically what was so wrong with it.
I have no fucking clue. I heard
Like,
about this
well-
headline, and it sounded like a bunch of hogwash. Like just people being, oh,
wow.
I don't like what you did. But I mean, as in terms of crowdfunding projects, I wonder if this sets a precedent of like people being unsatisfied with a project and before release and being like, hey, give me my.
I mean, this isn't the first time
funds back.
people have tried to get a refund for Star Citizen, and I'm like wondering why. Because from what I can see, like it's a really ambitious game, and as a Kickstarter game, it seems to have come a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
My dad actually like backed into it because one of his friends
No way.
was like, my dad plays video games, but like,
Oh, okay. So not that strange.
no, it's not that strange. One of his friends, I guess, had been playing it, and he convinced him to buy like, because if you just buy a ship for like $60 or whatever in the game, they let you have beta access. So like he bought a ship basically, and then he played with it. He said it's pretty cool, but it needs like a little bit of, obviously it needs a little bit of work because it's not done. But it seemed like, from what I've heard from people saying, is like they enjoy it and they want to see where it goes. But yeah, this isn't the first time that like people have asked for refunds for Star Citizen stuff, and it's just because people are complaining that it's taking too long. But
Oh my gosh.
I don't know, man. It's to me, it's like, you know, man, the scope has expanded now that they've made
it
like
sounds
all that money.
extreme. This is like crazier than No Man's Sky, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
And
it is
I don't know.
100%.
It is.
I just don't like. I'm not in that scene, so I don't want to be overly critical of people that are upset. You know, because I don't really know what they're even like. I haven't fucking backed that game at all, so I have no clue. But you know, just on the outside perspective, I don't know. To me, it feels like another one of those situations of just gamers being cynical and being upset, and like it's easy to be that way, especially in the wake of Mighty Number 9 and stuff like that. So,
Well, I mean, Star Citizen was started in 2012, right?
Mhm.
That was when it officially started.
Something like that.
If you guys think about it, it has been 4 years. I mean, that, granted, a lot of games can take longer than that, but 4 years is quite a long time to wait.
I've been waiting for Final Fantasy 15 for more than 10 years.
For like 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm just joking.
well,
But with this game, it's a little different. Like, I mean, it originally was just like a lot of the flight sim stuff is done,
I was gonna say,
but they just keep adding things to it.
did you pay
Yeah.
Square Enix in advance for Final Fantasy 15?
No.
Exactly.
I mean, I pre-ordered it, so I guess.
I know, but I'm saying like years ago, like when they announced it at PS.
Like in 2006, did you
Oh,
go
like that
GameStop?
guy who had the receipt for Duke Nukem back from like 1990 fucking 3 or something.
What, the next Duke Nukem? You mean that never got made, or whatever it was?
No, you remember that picture
No.
that's been circulating? Like, it's a receipt from a GameStop of somebody buying Duke Nukem Forever back in like, I can't even remember when, but like whenever the game got canceled before Gearbox got it back up. He was like,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm not getting this anymore.
Yeah, I had a friend who pre-ordered StarCraft Ghost, and he had the
Oh, yeah.
receipt on his wall for like 2 years, and then they canceled it. Yeah.
Wow.
tough.
Well, that's, well, you know, pre-order. Sorry.
I mean, he only put like $5 down, so it's like,
Right.
and I told him he could go get his $5 back, but he was like, I'm too lazy. Whatever.
That's
So,
what I would be like.
Yeah, for $5, and honestly, that's what they count on. Those.
I mean, I
retailers.
probably would have had to go back in anyway to get something. I would have been like, can I get my $5 back and like put it on something else? You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have $10 down on Metal Gear Solid 5 for the PS4 at my mall GameStop, and I never go to that one, so I just never care to fix it because I have the game. I just bought it somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's. I'm proud of you, Kyle.
Thank you.
That is a supreme form of laziness.
Oh yeah, I'm a pro.
Monetary interest in going to a certain GameStop, and you're like, nah, I'm just gonna go one closer to me.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, we have some Star Wars Battlefront news. So, Dave, if you have to go get some coffee or like go to the bathroom, you can just walk away.
Well, let's keep playing Halo. That's what I'm doing right now. The better multiplayer game.
Anyway,
Zing!
Star Wars Battlefront's next DLC takes you into the Death Star's trench. So basically, they're adding a Death Star trench run map where you're going to fly into the Death Star and blow it up. And they're adding Bounty Hunter Bosk, which is the big lizard man. And then they're adding Chewbacca as playable heroes. So that's cool. I know that like a lot of people have been asking for Chewbacca for like.
Yeah, it feels so weird that like they took him this long.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just trying to figure out like what he could do.
Yeah. I don't know, man. They've just been. I mean, at least. I mean, say what you will about Battlefront. I think like DICE has been amazing at supporting it. I mean,
Why do you think they've been amazing? I'm just curious. Because I think they've
tons
been
of
fine.
content.
Yeah,
Can you
like,
really say tons?
But it's consistent. Like, and,
I'll
and
give you that.
even on top of that, they like near the beginning of the year. Remember, like back in December when they had their whole roadmap all the way up until like the end of this year. Like that's
Did they?
yeah. You don't remember that?
No,
Like
man.
all the way
I
into
was not super
2017.
hyped on it.
So like they had a DLC roadmap all the way into
All I remember was
2017.
at launch.
the roadmap was called finishing the game.
Yeah,
Oh, Dave.
it's funny.
Well, Nate's not here. I have to use the charge up ability. It's gotta, you know, gotta
But yeah.
All I remember is the fucking the battle on. God damn it! What's the planet?
Jakku.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember. So
No, they've released all kinds of stuff since then. You just don't pay attention to it.
yeah, I know.
They've released like multiple DLC packs and like patches.
Like I
and
know that
stuff.
they've been active about it. I'm just saying, like whenever they launched, I don't remember.
I mean,
specifically what you
say
were talking about.
Say what you will and what everybody else will about how Battlefront is,
You can
because
just
I
say
will
I think it's
I will
fine.
I will
Just
admit
say
that
Nate.
like it's not the best game ever. It's like whatever, but it has a hold on like a very casual and dedicated audience and people that
think it works
still
very
play it
well
all the
for what it
time.
is.
Yeah. Like a lot of my friends who don't really play video games still play it all the time. So
Yeah.
say what you will about it.
I will.
Go ahead. Oh, you say I will?
I will continue to do so.
Okay, that's fine. You do you, Dave. I almost called you Kyle.
Almost called.
Almost done with Rogue One or Star Wars stuff. Rogue One is Star Wars Battlefront's 4th DLC pack. So Rogue One Scarif will be the 4th and final expansion of the Star Wars Battlefront. Will launch sometime this winter, around the time of the spin-off film. They didn't really announce any details. They just said that that's happening.
I'm excited for this one because Rogue One I'm pretty hyped on.
I'm guessing Jyn Erso and some Imperial person will
Some
be
Imperial person.
playable
Ben Mendelsohn's
characters.
character, I'm betting.
Yeah,
Whoever
just
he
walking
is.
with his cape,
Yep.
looking like a badass.
I know. So grateful. Or graceful.
Grateful.
Jesus. Can't fucking talk.
He's so grateful.
I'm so grateful to be this Imperial fucking madman.
Did
I
you
mean,
see
I'd be
that,
grateful to be in Star
during
Wars.
the Rogue One panel. Like he came out in costume with like a bunch of stormtroopers and stuff.
No shit.
Amazing.
Like during the panel, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
All I've seen from that is the reel that they showed off, which looks
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
The
Oh my
reel
God.
was really cool, and I was like, man, I can't wait to see the trailer. And then
Oh my God, I know,
then it
right?
Never dropped.
Fuck you, ABC.
And I was like,
you.
what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, ABC definitely lied. They were like, we're going to show the trailer. And then I saw earlier in that day, I was at work from like 5 a.m. until 1 in the afternoon. And the guy I work with, we kept checking like Star Wars stuff because like the panels and stuff were happening while we were at work. And I kept getting updates and we were just waiting. We're like, oh, hopefully the trailer will drop by the time we go on our first break. 7 a.m. Oh, hopefully the trailer will drop by the time it's lunch. Nope. Hopefully the trailer will drop by our last break. Nope. And then, yeah, it was kind of frustrating. I'm hoping next week during Comic-Con they release it, but we'll see what happens. They showed it, but whatever. God, just frustrating.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. I've been reading that book, New Dawn. It took a while.
Is that the one where the Millennium Falcon's like exploding out of the?
No, that's the second Aftermath book. I haven't read any of Aftermath. Everyone tells me it sucks, so I didn't read.
That's what I've heard too. Yeah.
And everyone's like, the second Aftermath's pretty good. I was like, I'm not gonna wade through shit to get to something pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
I
Yeah.
never quite got the, like, that wraps back to video games too. Like, people were like, oh, this game's like some of it's bad, but like it gets good towards the end. I'm like,
Yeah, no.
like the Final Fantasy 13 thing. Like, I don't.
That doesn't.
I mean,
I was actually.
That doesn't change.
Yeah,
well.
I'm usually someone who's like, if it's not good in the first like few pages or something, or the first few chapters or the first hour or something, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this or read this or whatever. And I was like so close to giving up on A New Dawn, but like around page 100 is when it finally like snipped over. Like it's like 400 pages, but like once I hit page 100 yesterday, and I'm almost at page 200 like already. Like I was reading it so slowly. I was like, God, this is kind of boring. And then it just, page 100 goes bam, and it was just all of a sudden became super fun. And I was like, oh my God. So now it's like I've read almost 100 pages in like a day.
Damn.
So I'll probably be done with it by this week, and then I can read I bought the first book in the Witcher series, so I'm gonna read that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is the collection of short stories.
The
Last Wish.
Yeah.
It's a collection of like, because like apparently like the Witcher series started as just a bunch of short stories that were published in this Polish magazine in like the 90s, and like The Last Wish is the first like collection of them. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that like tie into the other, but like apparently like once you finish the first two books, the first three books are like that, and then after that it becomes this like trilogy about Ciri, which is like what the games are about, because the games are basically the books.
Right.
So I'm interested. I've heard they're really good, so I'm gonna give them a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, if they decide to make a game off of them, must have been pretty good.
Yeah.
How many other book series have gotten games made out of them?
Like good games.
Yeah, like that before they get like a movie or a TV show, because I know there's Game of Thrones fucking games and stuff.
Well, I mean, we're talking like a AAA amazing game. The Witcher's the only one I really know of.
Yeah, I can't think of any. Make more video games, guys.
Out of books.
Yeah, out of books.
Yeah.
Let's get Odysseus.
Dude, I would dig like an Odyssey game. That would be so
right?
awesome.
Fuck yeah.
There's just like banging people and like fighting cyclopses and stuff. Dude, I want
to see my wife.
So hyped. I love the Odyssey. It's like one of my favorites.
It's better than Troy.
You mean it's better than the Iliad?
That's what I meant.
I do love the Iliad.
Not like in the fucking movie.
I do love the Iliad. Well, Troy sucks.
Iliad's a war movie. Yeah. Troy's terrible.
Let's just get that out of the way. I'm talking about the classic literature, not that crappy movie.
It irritates me to no end that my dad watches that movie like over and over and over again when it's on TV, and it's like, you already know what's gonna happen. Like, Troy falls.
You already know what's gonna happen.
Fucking spoiler!
Like,
Troy falls. Like, you know.
Yeah. Troy falls.
Yeah.
Hector dies.
Hector dies.
Spoiler alert.
And Paris is a pussy. It's just
For like, spoiler alert for like a I don't even know how long it's been.
Yeah, it's been a while since Troy
I don't even know. When was the Iliad written? A long time ago.
Oh god. Yeah.
Since the Iliad
Multiple
was
hundreds.
wrote.
Yeah, it was 762 BC. So, you know, like almost like 2500 year. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I literally had the book open right here.
Yeah. Hector dies? What the fuck?
You know there's gonna be somebody.
Oh god. Anyway.
But what were we talking about? Oh, that's right. We got way off topic. Anyway, our last piece of news, I saved the best for last. Nintendo's Mini NES Classic Edition.
Yeah.
Coming out. So Nintendo is going to release a $60 classic console that fits basically in the palm of your hand. It's super tiny. And
Little.
it's so little. And it basically is it doesn't have any cartridges. It basically comes preloaded with 30 games. I'm trying to find a list of the games.
I was gonna say, did anybody else hear this and think of those Sega Genesis games you can get like wall?
Yes, that's the first thing I thought of.
Like, it's just it's Nintendo backed. That's basically the only difference.
Yeah. Excuse me. So you'll pay for it at $60. It comes with one controller. You can buy a second controller for $10, so it's not that bad. I'll just do some highlights of the games, like Balloon Fight. I love Balloon Fight. I don't know how anybody else feels. Balloon Fight's like
Josh,
literally one of my favorites.
Of all the games that are on that list, Balloon Fight, that's the first one.
Balloon Fight's not my favorite of the games that are on the list, but I do love Balloon Fight. I think it's incredibly underrated Nintendo title.
All right, you do you.
Okay. You
All
do
right.
you, bae.
Castlevania, son. First
Yeah, buddy.
Castlevania? Yeah? Anybody? I love that game so much.
Does it have two? Simon's
It
Quest?
does have 2, yes. Doesn't have
Cool.
3, though, oddly enough.
I've never played 3.
I have. I don't like
skipped
it
the
as
Super.
much. Dude,
Yeah.
Super Castlevania is so good.
I would say the game
It's
that
alright.
caught my eye on that list was the original Final Fantasy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
buddy.
that one's strange. Like, I think that version of that game is hard to play. It's
Oh,
kind
really?
of... It's kind of...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original NES Final Fantasy, I think it's kind of rough. Like, I think the GBA and the PS1 remakes are much better.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't even know. I've never
In
played
terms
the
of,
NES
like,
version.
presentation. You've only ever played the NES version?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
I've
dude.
never played the NES version. That's
Oh, I played it once, and I was like, ugh.
Is it like grind heavy or like what?
does it
Just
run
the
for it?
music is like ear piercing, and like the graphics
well,
don't look very good.
Whatever.
and-
That's just the NES.
I mean, I think
No,
probably-
no, but not every NES game has like ear piercing graphics. This one specifically has like ear piercing
If you
sound.
say so.
I'm pretty
All
sure
right.
they would have fixed that before putting it on there.
No,
I don't feel like they
probably
would.
not.
Yeah, but
Probably not. Donkey Kong Jr., Double Dragon, Dr. Mario, Excite Bike, Galaga. Gotta love me some Galaga.
Yeah.
Ghosts and Goblins, Ice Climbers, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Mario Bros, Mega Man 2, Metroid, Pac-Man, all 3 Super Mario Bros games, The Legend of Zelda 2, Adventure of Link, Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo.
That's not everything, but those are some of the highlights that I picked out. This seems pretty cool. I'm probably not going to buy one, but I'm curious what you guys think.
So, yeah, like I think this is a great idea. It reminds me a lot of the Atari Flashback. And what the Flashback did really well is it took a catalog of games that Atari had that people like. There was a sense of nostalgia around them whenever, by the time the Flashback launched, because it had been years and years just like this. The only difference that I see is that, like everything Nintendo does that's great, there's like something wrong with it. And to me, it's the price tag. I think it's way too high. And mainly it's just because if you ever look at how Nintendo releases any game over their classic portfolio, whether it's on the Wii or the 3DS, they are always like, hey, give us $3 and you can play whatever. They are not willing to go very low on any game ever, even if like you can go to a store.
They don't do.
Yeah, like it takes forever for a game to get on the Nintendo Selects. Like there are Wii games that just recently got on there, like Super Mario Galaxy 2 just finally dropped from like $40.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's insanity.
I mean,
but
to put it into perspective for anybody who's not familiar with how highly Nintendo values their IPs, like as far as pricing goes, like it took the Wii U being an absolute failure for them to finally put out a console bundle where you get a game for free. Like,
Yeah.
Whereas
they've
like,
had a few.
Well,
I
they've
mean,
done that. I mean,
There's
traditionally
Nintendo
they've
Land.
done
They did
that.
Mario Kart 7, and they've done Super Mario 3D Land.
oh, that was what they asked
Yeah,
me to say, right?
they've done that in the past. That's not a
Way in
new
the
thing.
past, though. That was Super Nintendo, whereas Nintendo 64.
I don't know. The
yeah,
DS came with that Metroid demo, and
That's a demo.
The Wii
That's
came
true.
with Wii Sports.
Oh,
the original Game Boy came with Tetris. That was
That's also
huge.
true. But
Yeah.
like to me, the point is just like I think this could be an amazingly smart idea because I think there are tons of people that had an NES when they were kids and don't play anymore, and this could really capitalize on that group, especially like because that's how I got introduced to Atari games and stuff through like people that like my dad bought me an Atari Flashback for some reason, like at the point when I was like in air quotes here, a hardcore gamer. Like I was playing on my original Xbox, and he was like, "Oh, you would love this Atari flashback," and I was like, "Dad, I can play all these games right now on like a flash thing on my computer."
Yeah.
But,
on archive.org or whatever.
Right. Yeah, you can just go and jump and play it. But like the effect still remains. I think it's a good idea because it could capitalize on people that remember that stuff but don't play them anymore, and it also gives just a sense of like, because every time when you buy a game, a classic game on any Nintendo service, you can't have it access to it in the next console generation. Like everything that you bought on the Wii does not translate over to the Wii U. So, this is an okay thing to have, I think, if you're just wanting to have a solid base of NES games that you can hook up to the TV and play. But yeah, again, still, I think $60, like that's pretty rough. I want it for sure, but.
Well, yeah, that's what Nintendo banks on. I mean, they're just, they want you to say, oh, well, that's got a little steep, but I do want it. Nintendo is like the masters of floating that line. But as far as I'm concerned about this thing, I mean, I'm not super excited for it. I mean, I look at it like not necessarily buying video games, but I look at it more like buying a history textbook. I mean, that's basically how.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would get it more for the lesson of where games have come from, and I'd look at it in that way. I would not look at it like, oh, I'm going to sit down and play some balloon fight today for hours on end. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, I'd buy it and, like, give it to my parents to try and get them into gaming that way. Like, just...
It's an interesting angle.
Just to see what they... Because, like, they don't really understand it, because, of course, they just weren't that generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've also seen these sorts of things do well with like really young kids that aren't going to be able to play like Call of Duty or anything like that extreme, and I feel like the NES is a good console for young kids that are playing on iPads and stuff, because I mean, even if you look at those games, however masterfully designed they are, they're still pretty simplistic and easy to understand.
Yeah.
I will say again, though, that list of games I think is pretty comprehensive of the NES catalog. It's got a lot of good games on there, which I'm surprised, like how they got those games. Like it's across the board from publishers, and I think it's pretty cool.
Oh
yeah.
So it sort of justifies that price tag, but still,
it's a cool project. But like, I'm not sitting here like, oh my god, this is amazing. Best thing ever this year. Like, no, it's just kind of like, oh, that's cool. Moving on.
Yeah,
that's how you guys feel.
I mean, I don't think it was ever intended to be like, look at this, boom, drop the bomb, NES is back, baby.
Yeah, but I feel like some people have been treating it though, which is like,
well, because people are excited. Because like, I think the NES is some people's favorite console. Like, if somebody came out and told me, hey, Kyle, you can buy a Sega Saturn with the entire catalog of games on it for $150. I'd give you $200 and say, give me it, because that would be my shit. And some people, their Sega Saturn to me is their NES. Basically, so I think that makes sense.
Basically my
People
Sega
get excited.
Dreamcast. But
yeah, I do for the Dreamcast too.
Oh my god, and it hard.
Love those things. Hell yeah.
So I guess it's maybe just a generational thing.
I think so anyway, because like I never had an NES. I'm not old enough for that.
Yeah, me neither. All right.
You geezers.
Yeah, you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the day, like a week from its launch, when someone's like, oh yeah, I hooked up this like Raspberry Pi to it, and now I can just load every NES game into it ever.
Oh yeah, interesting point. Yeah, you can't add any games to the list. So it's just like that's it. That's all you get.
Yeah, but I'm saying like somebody's gonna create an easy hack where they just pull out the hard drive or something and then load a smaller, like maybe the same size hard drive into it, and just like a USB stick, and then just load like every NES. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
This makes me just want to buy a top loader, to be honest. I just want to go ahead and get a top loader NES.
Aren't they kind of expensive?
I think the top loader is cheaper than a normal.
Are you sure? Because the normals are always all fucked up.
I don't know, man. I haven't researched into it.
Let's look. What we're doing that. I'm just curious.
Looking it up live.
Looking it up on eBay. Yeah, they're like $150, dude. Triple balls.
That's not bad.
So what is it's just
for an NES
console? Yeah, for a classic console, like that's how they usually do.
Has all
an SNES
on it, or?
An SNES goes what, $80 usually. That's how they usually go. And I love personally having like the classic console. I love that. Makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Let me have that experience.
I'll be excited when it's like, I guess like when they get to the N64 at some point.
In 64.
Yeah, that's where like my childhood kicks in. Like I don't really have. I mean, I also said I'd be interested in like an SNES because like I don't know. That's just more the area of where my interest is. I mean, I don't necessarily love SNES games, but I haven't played a lot of them either. So I'd want to play those.
I want to play Quest 64.
I want to actually like. I mean, granted, I could just download it right now, but I want to legally play Chrono Trigger. You know,
Legally?
like you can download it obviously, but it's just not.
Yeah, off the PSN.
Well,
there's a DS version too.
Yeah.
You can get. Are you saying you want to play it on the SNES?
I was gonna say let's stop this. Let's just
get a mini SNES, and then someone will hack that.
I can probably get it.
And then they're like, I'm playing Sega Genesis games on it. That'd be...
Chrono Trigger's probably on my Vita. I could probably get it for Vita.
Just get a Retron, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Then you can play everything.
Oh yeah, those Retrons. Those are pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've gone on enough about the NES.
For sure. I think. What was I gonna say? Oh, we have to go on our topic of the show.
Yeah.
That's the new hotness that we got to get to. So, topic of the show. We're gonna talk about Pokemon Go. I know we kind of talked kind of about the Pokemans last week, just a little, just kind of like, wow, it's crazy how crazy Pokemans is.
Yeah, moving on before we take up the entire episode. Oh wait, now we're taking up this half of this episode. But yeah, Pokemon Go.
It's blowing the hell up, and it's not stopping, from what I can see.
Yeah. I actually played it today. And,
just today?
Well, I've played it a little since, but like today was the first day that I like actually played it. Like I actually went out into the world with friends and like, basically like put lures out and like went to multiple Pokestops and like walked around a place we'd never been and caught like tons of stuff. And basically played for like 3 hours in this place that I'd basically never been to before, ever. And like met multiple people just along the way. We put a lure down at like a Pokestop and like this like gang of kids showed up and they're like, there's a lure here. And like that was really
just
funny.
Gonna make everybody happy.
Yeah, and then at one point like we ran into this older woman and she was like playing Pokemon.
No way.
She's by herself, and then she was all like, are you all playing Pokemon? We're like, yeah. And then she was like, I've been playing this for like a couple days now, like, and I'm having fun. And then she was like, but I don't understand how these gyms work. So we like talked to her about the gyms, how the gyms work or whatever. She didn't know how to join a team. She was like, I haven't joined a team yet, and we helped her join her team or whatever. And then she was talking to us about like how many Magikarps she had and stuff.
Oh my god, farming those Magikarps. That's
I know. I got my first one today.
So wait, you're actually trying to find Magikarps now.
Yeah.
Well, because if you want to get a Gyarados, you have to get like Magikarps.
Oh.
Because the way it works is like to evolve a Pokemon, you have to get the associated. Each Pokemon has its own associated rare candy.
Yeah.
And like the way you get that candy is by catching that same Pokemon. So like.
So you're farming Pokemon essentially to get.
So if like I want to catch, so if I want my Bulbasaur to evolve into like a Venusaur, I have to catch more Bulbasaurs.
Wait, so hold on a minute. Like, Dave, have you not played this yet?
I played like a minute of it, and then I kind of just put it down.
You need to go, like, there's a couple of like hot spots in my city. We've identified some of our friends as being privileged, quote unquote, because they live across the street from a park.
Yeah.
No, they live across the street from a park, which is a hot spot, and people put lures and stuff up all the time, and they literally just sit in their house and catch Pokemon. He has like 1,500 CP like Pokemon and shit.
My God.
So all day I was just like privilege at him because I'm like, I live in this area that like I have to walk a couple blocks to get to the hot spots, and he just lives like right next to one, so he doesn't even have to move.
Yeah, in my experience, like the people that have been fairly hardcore about it have been people that are sort of in the know. They already are going to get it. But like
Yeah.
the normies out there that are eating this stuff up, I think right now this week has been the week where they've been like diving in and being like, oh shit, like I like Pokemon Go, and I've been seeing more and more people that wouldn't play are now getting in. But yeah, even from like launch day, there was a ton of people that just don't play games are now playing Pokemon because that brand association is so strong. This game is just blowing the hell up. I feel like I can't go 2 feet without hearing something about it. Like I was walking around with my phone.
Too. It's usually like,
oh yeah,
like
I mean, there's tons of just like silly stories, like people getting robbed because somebody put down a lure and then like held everybody up at gunpoint.
The one that really gets to me is one I saw yesterday about 2 guys who, in California, Josh, they walked off a cliff.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Well, they're dumb. They were looking down at their phone the whole time.
It was like a 90-foot drop, and they survived. But like, Jesus Christ!
There's that girl that crossed the highway because of Pokemon Go and got hit by a car and was blaming the app.
That just makes me so angry.
Yeah, it's just like that's the thing. People are going to be stupid, and this is just like an ability for them to be more stupid. So I don't really. What bothers me a lot is like, Good Morning America is on in my house a lot. So I'm always hearing these stories from Good Morning America that's like, oh, this is dangerous for your kids and stuff. Like, God, shut the hell up!
Let
like
your kids play with the Pokemans. Right?
Like if you're gonna let your kids go out at dark playing Pokemon Go, that's probably a dumb idea. I'll admit, but if it's just a normal day or whatever, like to me, almost everything from Pokemon Go has been fairly positive in terms of what it is doing to the player outside of maybe, and this is a side thing that I'm actually like looking more into and all this other shit that I'm getting into, but like it is a bit ableist. But besides that, I feel like Pokemon Go is by and large fairly popular, fairly positive. I'm having a lot of fun with it. A lot of people that don't play games are having fun with it. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's also solving America's childhood obesity problem pretty well.
No more leg day. Nobody needs leg day anymore.
Yeah.
Just Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Pokemon Go.
I'm not going to pretend
Incubate your eggs, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that this game has a lot of positives to it. And honestly, I'm just kind of feeling like the grumpy old man that won't play it because I'm just not into it. Like I tried to play it and I was like, this is dumb. I don't want to play this.
Why do you think it's dumb?
I don't know. Like, I guess I kind of grew out of Pokemon, and I hate using that term because it kind of like belittles people who still enjoys it, which I don't want to do. But like, I don't enjoy Pokemon anymore. Like, I kind of figured that when I bought a 3DS about like 2 or 3 years ago, and I bought Pokemon Black with it, and I played like maybe an hour of it, and I was like, this isn't really fun to me anymore. Like, I don't enjoy Pokemon anymore. So like I
don't know, dude. I still love me some Pokemon.
Yeah, man, I love Pokemon.
I'm not saying, and I'm not holding that against you guys at all. Like, it's just that it really isn't for me. And
I mean, that's fine. Yeah, it's just a bit.
And
I also find it interesting how like this is not a good game by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
at least
not really.
Yeah, it's like it constantly has all these problems, server issues, and if this was any other game, like. It's not as bad as Master Chief Collection, right? Where like people just literally can't get in and play a game.
Yeah.
But like if this was any other game, people would be lambasting it and saying like this is trash, doesn't even fucking belong here. How is this acceptable in 2016?
This is a travesty.
Right. But like as far as I'm concerned, Pokemon from a design perspective, I think is weirdly just bad. Like it's incentivizing you to get out and move, which again. Is me tying back to like the ableist thing, but it also like there's no PvP. What the hell? How does it incentivize people that are not going to be going after gyms after they've collected their share and are like done with that part of the game? There's all these things that I have big problems with, which like we were talking about last week. I don't see this game living at least at this height of popularity for more than a month, maybe a month and a half to 2, whoever, but. Yeah, like I was saying, I just don't understand how they're going to keep the casual base keep continuing to play because there's nothing to incentivize them other than just catching more Pokemon. And, after the initial 150, they're not going to care anymore because they didn't play gens 2 through whatever.
Yeah.
So like there's all these things that but the good news is,
sorry.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's when a lot of people jumped off. But the good news is I do think Niantic has come out and they've said repeatedly that they are planning on doing a lot of post-launch content, adding stuff. Fixing the server issues, number one, is I think the number one priority for them. But everything else, like they've been talking about adding stuff over time. So if, for instance, 2 months down the road when Pokemon Go is starting to wane a little bit, maybe they put out a patch that allows people to do a new thing. And it's like, hey, everybody jump in for Pokemon Go for a week. And that can potentially, I can see them like lasting maybe even to a year of just continually being like every couple of weeks being like, here's a new thing, jump in for a minute. And then keeping that in people's minds for a while.
Yeah, it needs constant updates.
Yeah,
like it needs that. They need to add like a friends list that shows you when your friends are playing or your friends are around. They need to add more Pokemon because technically not all 150 are in there. There's only like 130.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah, well, I think some of them, like Mew and Mewtwo and things like that, are being saved for like events.
Yeah.
They have actually been, I don't know if you have read about this, but some people have been poking around in the code and stuff, and have found references to things like McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which suggests that they're going to start doing promotions that are like, hey, this weekend only, if you go to a McDonald's, you can get like a Mew or whatever.
I think that's super smart for a marketing perspective.
Super smart. It's super smart. I'll go get some chicken nuggets and catch a Mew, dude. I don't care.
Hell yeah.
Like, all the restaurants will pay through the nose to have that happen because that's like how much.
Especially with how popular it is right now.
Yeah. So I know Legendary bought like the movie rights or something. There's a bunch of people like scrambling to get the movie rights for Pokemon. Are you
fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Do I think they're actually going to go through with it? No.
No, not at all.
I'd love another Pokemon anime movie in the theater.
Well, they're talking about a live-action Pokemon movie.
No, I know, and that sounds horrible, but
it does sound awful to me.
New anime.
Speaking of the movies, actually, there was a clip used from the first Pokemon movie for this Facebook video. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but it's actually of one of Hillary Clinton's rallies where she's saying something like, so I've been hearing about this Pokemon Go. Well, I wish people would Pokemon Go to the polls.
Oh, yeah.
Plays the part where Pikachu just goes, Pika-Pee. Like, really?
Yep. it's bothering me that, like, because Trump came out with another tweet or whatever that was bashing Hillary, and it was Pokemon Go themed, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm happy that Pokemon's so mainstream again that, you know, this can happen, or if I'm just, like, angry. It's like when your parents shit you like.
But that's not Pokemon's fault.
It's not Pokemon's fault, but
no, of course not. But it's like when your parents start saying "they" ironically.
Ugh.
It's like, that's not a word anymore.
I'd immediately stop saying it if my mother or my father ever started saying that. But
yeah, it just feels like that.
In general, like before, because I always thought it was the dumbest thing. So I think
people for the most part have only said it ironically. I don't know how many people have said it for real.
But about going back to Pokemon Go though. I think something that was brought up on I was watching the Kind of Funny Games cast. It actually isn't out yet, so I'm a Patreon guy, so they give me the podcast early. But what they said on there was that, you know, basically the game has to kind of float this line between being an actual Pokemon game and being a simplified version of the Pokemon game. Because if they add too much in and they put too much stuff in there, people are just going to get confused and stop. So, like, that's why the game right now is so simple. Because it's literally just like, you take your phone, a Pokemon shows up, you flick your finger at the, to send the Pokeball at the Pokemon, you catch the Pokemon, and then you use that to level up Pokemon. And then, of course, they have the Pokestops and the gyms, but it's all very simple. And that's kind of what they're driving at with Pokemon Go. So, I'm saying don't expect like a full Pokemon game to ever be.
Well, yeah, that's very obvious.
Yeah.
But the thing to me is that it is designed simplistically for sure. But they explain nothing, which I think is super cool. I think it's cool because I think it really adds to Pokemon's ability to bring in that social factor. Because if you're jumping into the game, tons of people already know what's going on, and there was sort of like when you're on your playground, right, and you hear about missing no, it's like, oh yeah, there's this way you can do it. And it's like that's how I found out about how you can curveball a Pokeball. It was constantly people like sort of talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, you can totally do this if you do this. It's like what, and then you do it yourself.
The actual like explanation of missing no. which is that
Do what?
when you actually, because the way you get missing no, of course, is when you go to and you watch that guy catch the farmer catch the wheel or something, and then you surf up and down that coast, and then you find it. You're actually screwing up the game's code so that it's showing like a amalgamation of Pokemon, so it just assigns it.
No, yeah.
It assigns it the name missing no, which stands for missing number. Because they don't like the game doesn't know what Pokemon it is, so it can be literally anything. But
Yeah.
But I think it brings back that just sentiment of when you're a kid and you're on the playground and you hear a rumor where it's like, oh, you can do this and you'll get like a super Pokemon or whatever, and like you either find out it's false or in this case, since the internet, most of them just are probably true. But it's just so much fun. I think getting people that don't play games to be like, hey, like I play Pokemon Go. Like, how do I do this? Like, I had some friends over the other night and we decided to walk around my apartment complex trying to get some Pokemans, and none of them really play much. Like one of them just jumped up to level 5 and was confused on how to join a team and stuff. And like you're explaining it to them and seeing how like they figure out stuff in the game and you see the gears click. And I think it's from a social perspective, I think it's really doing a good job by not explaining stuff. Because at first when I did get it, I was like, this is so bad. Like it doesn't tell you how to do anything. All of this is hidden, all the information. But now that I've had some real good time with it and seen it with other people, I think it's a positive. I think it's a really good way to extend that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like, that's a good point that like they don't tell you anything, so it makes you actually interact with people and the community around it. But I would say that that's part of like a trend that I feel like that's happening in other games. Like a lot of games like Dark Souls and stuff like don't really tell you the story. They just expect you to go find it if you really care about it and stuff. And a lot of the joy of it comes from interacting with other people that are into it as much as you are and like discussing it. Like I feel like Dark Souls was probably like one of the first ones to do it. Destiny sort of has this thing too, where like not a lot of the mechanics are totally clear, and the story is sort of like vague to where you're like, okay, I understand that like things are happening here, but if you really wanted to get really deep into it, like you start reading and then you start talking to other people that are just as into the lore, and I think that makes you even more into it. Because when I first started getting into like Destiny lore and stuff, I didn't really care that much, but then I started listening to podcasts and talking to other people that like are coming up with theories and like talking about like characters and things that happen in the world, and then you start getting really, really into it. And I've found like that sort of thing translates to game mechanics also, and it's been happening with this game. Having the conversations and going out, and what makes it even better is that you're going out into the real world and having these conversations. You're going out in the real world and interacting with people that you've never met, and you can just tell when you see them. Right. Like, oh, did you catch that Chansey that was floating around here a second ago? And they're like, yeah, I did. You don't even have to explain it. I think that stuff is super cool. And will the game fall off pretty soon? I bet a lot of people will stop playing it really soon. Like people like Dave will stop playing it. But I think that I'm sure there's going to be a core audience that still plays it. And if they can continue Dave, I really recommend like giving it another shot, because I feel like if you just walk around like
it's
downtown,
super fun.
Yeah, when you start going downtown, like you're going to be finding all kinds of Pokemon and leveling up, and then you're getting
people that are playing and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny. Like there's this
you
restaurant.
live in New Jersey, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's probably tons.
There's this restaurant near us called Soul Food, and it's super popular. And there's 5 Pokestops around the street where the place is, and this place always has a line. And one night when we were out doing something, we looked at the map and we noticed that all 5 of the Pokestops around Soul Food had lures on them. And we're like, everyone in line there is probably playing Pokemon right now. Wow. I think that's crazy. Like, I want more of it. I'm really curious to see like what the next one is, not the next Pokemon is, but like what's the next kind of game like this that can do this. I think this was like the perfect mix, because like the idea of Ingress sounded cool, but like after playing it for 3 days, I got bored because it seemed like nobody else was really playing it, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's like a lot of the joy and the fun comes from the fact that you know everyone else around you is playing it right now. And when you go out and you're checking your phone and you see everybody else checking their phone, you know that they're looking for freaking rat-a-tatas and Pidgeys and stuff.
I think it's coming out at like the perfect time too, because I don't know if we talked about this last time, but like I feel like it's really capitalizing on people that played it in Gen 1, because like now everyone who played it back then is either going to college right now or is in their late 20s. So it's like really hitting that spot where people are of age and like can drive around, can run around with their own expendable money and are experiencing like them. But also like kids who are still playing Pokemon, because Pokemon's still big, you know, running around with their phones and shit.
Yeah.
It's also summer.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah.
It's
It is.
also-
Like, I see tons of people running around. I feel like in the winter it might cool down a bit because, well, obviously because it's going to be winter. But I mean, like, just less people will be playing because they don't want to go outside.
Yeah.
But I'm sure maybe they'll start doing stuff to make people go outside.
Yeah, I bet there's going to be like tons of like, oh look, this Pokemon popped up.
Yeah. Go to
Like, people are gonna-
Starbucks and get like
yeah.
3 times the candy for anything you catch while you're there.
Oh shit.
And
That'd be
know,
amazing.
They'll probably like at some point be like floating coupons to these places too, so that to further entice you to go.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Dude, I don't care. I'll take a free
That's the
latte
thing, yeah,
and
this
a
is-
Nidoran.
this
I'm
is-
not saying it's a bad thing. I didn't mean it that way. I mean, I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
what's going to happen. But
Yeah,
This
I
is
know.
a surprisingly smart marketing platform, I think.
What you
Yeah.
were saying before about which game is going to get it next, I'm not sure which game is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible.
But-
I don't think it's possible.
No, like the next Nintendo game to get the Pokemon Go treatment, and not necessarily.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like what's going to be the next big thing on, like, it's never going to reach this level, but like what's going to be the next one that's actually good, that's not just like a copycat.
I'm
You know,
about to say,
you get what I'm saying?
I can't answer that. But
The next app.
I want to answer what like the.
I didn't expect you to answer
I
it,
know,
Dave,
but
with all your clairvoyance. I was just
wanna-
floating that out there as like a thing to think about.
I'm just gonna go straight to the point because I just wanted to mention that it'd be cool if they did a Bomberman Go. Basically, if they-
Bomberman Go?
or like just like a Bomberman mobile game, so you can play.
I could
Bomberman.
see that having a lot of unfortunate connotations.
Oh right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Didn't think that went through.
Today's world would not like that very much. No, I'm thinking.
No, it would not.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that video of the pastor like talking about how like people playing this Pokemon game and they're catching cyber demons and how all the cyber demons seem to be congregating around churches and stuff? It's pretty great. You should look it up. It's
Oh my God.
infuriating and hilarious at the same time.
Egypt has called Pokemon Go. What did they say? They just said they don't like it because it's like they said because people are looking down at their phones. They sort of like likened it to how they think of like their own homophobia. It's so weird.
Well,
What?
China straight up banned it.
Yeah,
I mean.
China.
Yeah, they actually they had a Chinese developer release a competitor, and it's not nearly as good.
Oh yeah, I did see
because
that. Yeah.
That's pretty much how China operates. They just ban anything
Mhm.
Yeah.
related to Google and just and try to put out their own crappy,
I was surprised to see that
I
it
had
wasn't.
heard that there were certain countries where like Google Maps doesn't work except for like in one town. So like all these people have been driving to this town
Korea,
to play
buddy.
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
to liken us back to 2 episodes before, Hong Kong has Google services, so Aiden's actually probably able to play Pokemon Go. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Not getting any work done.
it was like, oh, just release the game, Pokemon Go time, bye. Just,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on vacation. He can go play.
Whatever.
yeah.
But,
He does
yeah,
what he
it's.
wants.
I think Pokemon Go is captivating. I don't think this is like it's a lightning in a bottle situation. Just because
I thought it was, but then it's been a week and a half or so.
Well, I don't mean that it's lightning in a bottle. Like it's just a flash in the pan. I just mean like I don't think this can be replicated by anything. Just because Pokemon as a brand has
Right.
such a wide reach. I think it's coming back at the perfect time.
Yeah.
It's available because the technology is there. It's just like a perfect merging of everything. Did you guys hear about how this game got made?
No.
No.
I don't know how this game.
I heard that. So Niantic made Instance, and like they came from Google, right?
Yeah.
And apparently the guy that's in charge of the Pokemon company was really into that game. And so they started talking to Niantic and it was just like, hey, I love this game. I'm in charge of Pokemon. How can we merge these two things to make something cool? And so that's how Pokemon Go happened. So it's just sort of like a happy accident, and it's so
That's
huge.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
like
surprised how many things come out of things just like that.
Right, yeah, like just from lucky business deals that wound up happening.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
it's
just,
crazy because
people being fans of other people's stuff and like talking about it.
Right, like for context, right? Like Nintendo only owns 33%, I think, of the Pokemon company, but their stocks are up 70% now.
Yeah,
it's insane. Like it's going insane.
I hope they realize that like mobile is a smart. Like I hope this changes the way they've been thinking about mobile, because like all they've done is like Miitomo, and that was kind of lame.
I think they're just giving it time because Miitomo is an easy thing to crank out. I think for Nintendo, like first off, this doesn't have much relation to them, right? Because they didn't develop it. They don't know anything. They don't really have to deal with Pokemon. All they do is like, oh, okay, so a new Pokemon's coming out, make it on 3DS. Okay, there you go. Like they don't deal much with it, right? Because it's not their in-house. But how it's going to affect the rest of their mobile stuff, I think is interesting. We're getting what is it? I almost called it Animal Farm. Animal Crossing.
Based on the classic literature.
Right. We're getting an Animal Crossing mobile game, and we're getting a Fire Emblem mobile game. Both of those obviously will never be able to reach the heights that this does. If it affects anything, I could see it. Perhaps maybe they try to integrate something socially into Animal Crossing, but from what I can tell, I think they're trying to go the Square Enix route and just make it straight up games on mobile. Like Mobius Final Fantasy's coming out, Brave Exvius, straight up real Final Fantasy games are out on mobile right now.
Final Fantasy All the Bravest type game. Let's hope they.
I was going to ask you, have either of you played Brave Exvius? Because I played it a little bit and I thought it was decent.
I got it. It's fine. Yeah, it's a perfectly fine mobile game.
I think the UI is totally a little much.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think they nailed the combat though. The combat's really fun.
Yeah, it's a perfect merging, in my opinion, of just a classic, sort of mobile game, free to play stuff with just a solid RPG. I mean, it's trying really hard to just make you realize, like, no, it's a real RPG. Don't worry about all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a little over the top, I agree, but
I honestly don't want that. Like, the story in it annoys me. Like, I wish that I could just, like, collect characters and fight them and stuff. Like, I just like the map and, like, going to the map, and it's like, here's your daily mission, do that, and then just fighting. And
I think the story...
I don't want to have the story in there. I like, every time it pops up and just like tap, 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 tap. I'm like, just get through it.
That's how I felt about the Kingdom Hearts game that came out on mobile. Key... whatever, the X Unchained,
right?
But for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, I think it works just because it incentivized me for the first 3 days that I was playing it to keep playing, because I think it's trying really hard again to be more of a normal RPG than other games. And like you were saying, right, all the bravest, like they have been constantly berated by like, this is not how you should be making these games. Mobile is a giant market. It's going to be overtaking console and PC fucking sales at the end of this year. So it's just like, for Nintendo to realize this, for Pokemon Go to happen, right? Like, I think these are all sort of they're not as related as people might think, but I do think things are going to be influenced by Pokemon Go in a weird way. I think we're going to see bad AR games come out from this. And like I said, I don't think anything.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some really bad ones.
Yeah, I just don't think another.
But I'm just
Pokemon
wondering, like,
possible.
when there's going to be like another one that changes the formula, because this genre is just like, this is Ingress just with a different skin,
right?
And it's less complicated. But I'm wondering, like, if someone is going to make a game that's similar to this, but that doesn't
like
follow
original?
the Ingress platform. Yeah, like that's not based on landmarks and catching monsters or something. Like, what I'm curious, like, what people are going to be trying to do with Google Maps and using that. Like, I'd be interested in a game that was like, there's no landmarks or anything, but periodically, like, a portal appears and you have to like fight monsters, and then you level up like a character or something, but the portals appear for only like 5 hours. and you have to actually go there or something. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
Something
like
to bring
different
people
ways
over there.
There's
Yeah.
different ways to like interact with this genre, and I'm curious how other people are gonna do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, basically.
You know what I think AR is going to become? I think this is just going to be a trend, and then it's going to go away. Because I think people will get tired of enough games that start coming out and trying to capitalize on like real world locations and stuff. And I think people will just be like, okay, I've already seen this enough. We've already had Pokemon Go and X games that come out after it. So I think in maybe 5, 6, 7 years, we're gonna look back and be like, that was annoying. But right now, anyway, I think that this is very cool. It's the first time in a while that I've seen something capture this much attention, especially from people that don't play games, like the Wii. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm still playing it. Like I checked Pokemon Go 2 times since we started recording to see if there's any Pokemon near me. So
I didn't find anything. I had it open this entire time we were talking about it. Nothing came in my neighborhood.
I found a Pidgey. I'm farming Pidgeys because
Yeah.
you don't know. Like evolve do you guys have lucky eggs?
Yeah. I was told the lucky egg strategy today, so I
Yeah,
started
so
saving
good.
all my
So good,
saving all my trash birds and poop worms.
Yep. Little diglets.
Diglets. I haven't found a single diglet.
Me neither. But my
Fact.
girlfriend has. Pisses me off.
My girlfriend has a Dragonite and I don't.
What?
We found a Dragonite today when we were out, and only half of us were able to catch it.
Oh my god! My first,
So frustrating.
no, my second day, I found a Blastoise in my house, and it was just chilling. So I just kept on throwing fucking Pokemon at it, and I couldn't catch it. I tweeted
Yeah.
about it, but yeah, like I didn't realize
You got to get
I
them
need
great
raspberries
balls.
and I need great balls, and I had neither. So it's just laughing at me.
Anyway, we should wrap this up. We should get
Yeah.
going. Anyway, this has been the Geek Tank.
Oh wait!
What?
Before we go,
Something to say?
before we go, yeah, I do have something to say because we did skip games coming out this week. I just wanted to say one game. Everyone go out and buy I Am Setsuna on Tuesday.
Oh, how
That
did
is
I
all.
forget that? Holy crap. We did.
I don't even know what that is, but I keep hearing about it. What is
I Am
it?
Setsuna.
Pitch me.
Game that
What is
made
it?
Okay.
by- it's basically it's a
RPG Factory.
It's a developer
Yeah.
that was created by Square Enix. They're called Tokyo RPG Factory. And basically what they're aiming to do is they're aiming to make kind of like those old retro JRPGs, like the stuff from like the SNES era basically. But make them with new graphics that look, modern. And they're coming with this game I Am Setsuna, which is basically a story of a girl who has to sacrifice herself for her village. So you are playing as the guy who has to guard her all the way up to the sacrificial site basically. And all the things that go along with that, and you go through her, her thoughts and stuff, and it's meant to be a whole journey, kind of like I don't know what we'd like in that too, like
Journey.
fine. But yeah, I mean it's
It's
Sure.
it's one of my most anticipated games of the year, so I'm very excited, and I want people to go buy it because I want this game to do very well, so we can get more games like this.
I'm still trying to finish the JRPG that I have right now. I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick up I Am Setsuna.
Tokyo Mirage
I'm
Session.
still not done.
I hear
so long.
I Am Setsuna. Good news is that it's like 20 to 30 hours. It's a
That's
short
better.
JRPG, so it's not going to be as intensive as JRPGs normally are, and I think that's the point, to get these games out quickly, to be shorter experiences, so you can munch down on the meteor Tokyo Mirage Sessions of the year. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to do that. Just wanted to say.
All right.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. Folks, you can find us on all kinds of podcast services. Please rate and review us, do all the good stuff. It helps us out so much. And you can find us on Twitter. We're just the Geek Tank, right? On Twitter?
We are at Geek Tank Podcast.
Geek Tank
Nova.
Podcast. So check us out there. And we're also on YouTube. You might be listening to this on YouTube. I don't think we have a custom URL yet, but just search the Geek Tank for YouTube, and you will find it.
Yes, you will.
You'll find us. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for this week. We'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye.